Well, that was the first single, wasn't it?
That was the first single.
That was
Yes,
the first
yes,
single.
yes, yes. That
Okay.
was the first single. Yeah. Um, yeah. I Wanna was just a juggernaut.
Yeah.
It was the first time that Teddy said "yep, yep," and it was the first time it was the first time that we heard what, some young boy doing what Zapp and Roger Troutman was doing with the vocoder, right? And
Yeah.
that was, and he was doing it on Something Just Ain't Right. But I Wanna was really, the interesting thing about I Wanna was we now had
That's a
producers
great song, by the way.
we now had producers singing along, right?
Ah,
And that's the key to I Wanna, right? So, it's yep, yep. You start to hear that, and then all of a sudden you start to recognize that this isn't this solitary experience, right? You're not just listening to Keith deliver this stuff to you with some anonymous band. It's Keith and Teddy delivering it to you, and that to me, I Wanna is the rise of Teddy Riley, which is why it's so interesting
right.
that if you listen to interviews and you start to ask them who's responsible for I Wanna, what they'll say is that they're responsible, and the other one, it was just like kind of a mixture kind of thing. You know what I mean? Or oh yeah, yeah, he was there, but it was an amazing introduction. And Prince, you and I were talking about this earlier this week. You can make the argument that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Janet Jackson in Control ushered in that
Right. That
whole
was the
new
real
Jack,
New Jack,
right?
the
That
New
new
Jack
Jack,
sound.
and I think you and I were talking, and I think New Jack actually goes back to the SOS band, Just Be Good to Me, and that was Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis,
God, I
and
love SOS
yeah,
Band.
Okay.
and yeah, you love SOS band, that, yeah. Okay, Lisa, quick detour. You love SOS band.
I
What?
do.
Give me one more song. Don't Google it.
I know all sorts of SOS Band
Okay,
songs,
go ahead.
but I shouldn't have to say titles because you're catching
Okay,
me off
sing one.
guard.
Sing another one besides "Just Be Good to Me."
God, I know them all. I
Okay,
just
okay,
can't
okay.
think of. You
I
just
just want a
catch me
second one.
off
I just
guard,
want a second one. Prince, don't text.
huh? Prince, text me. Listen, I'm gonna do something even better. How about that?
Right.
I'm gonna do something even funner.
SOS
Okay.
Band doesn't even have an Apple Music Essentials, right? Because it was just that one song, right? They don't
That's
even have a
Okay,
okay.
best of
hold on.
SOS Band.
Take
I
your
think that was
time,
my
do it right. Come on, take your time, do it right,
right. Yeah.
baby. Do it tonight, baby. You get to. Thank you. So see, I told you I'd give you a little bit more. Right.
Okay. So
I-
back to so
Come on.
oh, Frank is into back into his Popeyes. So Teddy Riley,
God, wait a
so Teddy
minute.
Riley
Weekend
decided he
girl?
wanted to be famous,
Wait,
and he
Prince,
didn't want to just
please.
make records. Hmm?
Please. Weekend girl? Forget it. When are we doing SO band? I want to
This
talk about
is the
SOS
last
band. Let's keep going. Let's just kibosh this whole thing and let's talk SOS band.
All right, let's talk about who was Jackie McGee, right?
Okay.
And so Jackie McGee was an amazing singer, and she was the classic amazing singer that you find at a church, and you convince her that God is not going to be mad if you decide to do popular music, and you bring her in to do "Make It Last Forever," and
That's a
she
scam, by the way. God is very mad at popular music. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here.
God is very mad at Little Fizz right now.
Right, right. And those damn tattoos. He's furious.
This is what you do with the face I gave you.
Right. The temple.
Right, right, right. It's a temple. It's a
Right,
Got it.
right.
God's
Exactly.
God's like, oh, Little Fizz, you people are gonna let Little Fizz do this? Ah, here's Trump. Okay,
Oh man.
okay. So,
Poor Lisa's going to hell, riding with us. You poor thing.
I know Lisa's going to hell with us, and she's
And
right
she's like,
behind.
it was only a podcast.
And I'm in a Ghostbusters shirt. I mean,
Right,
I'm here for the time,
right.
and you people,
That
you know.
there you go.
Oh,
And you know what? It's a podcast that Lisa actually broke out the big earrings for. And you know what the horrible
Oh
thing
my,
about this? Let me has as we talk about the females totally upstaging the male with Jackie McGee and Make It Last Forever. Let's talk about Prince. How Lisa's going to totally upstage us, get more hits, subscribes, likes, and anything for
right,
her
right,
podcast about the '90s music that won't include anything from Depeche Mode, Nirvana, or Green Day, or anything that is relevant. Instead,
right.
she'll
The
but
Pet
it will
Shop
have
Boys.
you two on there.
instead
I
she's
will have you two.
instead what she's going to do is she's going to take your time, right? And she's going to take her time. And folks, you heard it first when Lisa Jones does her '90s podcast about the Highland Place mobsters. She will slowly get undressed to make sure she keeps your attention through the entire album, folks. So, so,
Oh my goodness.
so
They don't want that. Trust me.
there you go. So Jackie McGee ended up having a little bit of a career, much like a Cut Close or anybody else that gets spun off. The problem is that when when you Keith Sweat and you're a writer, but you're really backed by Teddy Riley. When you bring somebody into the movement like a Jackie McGee, you really just don't know what to do with her, and you don't know how to push her the way that you push her. And I mean, I think Keith Sweat had the same problem with Silk. Keith Sweat
Right.
brings Silk in, and I think what Silk ends up doing is that Silk ends up probably selling more than Keith Sweat um, with I want to freaky
Freaky.
freaky with
Yeah,
you.
freaky.
Yeah,
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 that was such a great song, by the way.
huge song,
I don't know
huge
who
song.
wrote that,
Yeah,
but
That
that
was a
was
good
yeah,
record, but
right.
that'll be in the '90s. Sorry, you won't be able to cover that one on this
Well,
show.
and that'll be fine. That'll be fine. That's when you and I do our show on bands that are absolutely meaningless and nameless, except for the one guy who used to sing
one
in the
hit
church
wonders.
choir,
Right.
like Jodeci or
Ooh.
Drew Hill or
Oh.
Highland Place Mobsters, or right.
Oh.
So we could just keep going down, or Blackstreet, or so it just happens, or not to be confused with Blackstreet. What was the name?
But let's give Keith Sweat credit because since he did discover Silk, you know, I respect people who can find other talent and nurture them and all
The
that.
problem is,
And
Prince,
take
is
all the
that
money.
the
Well, I
problem
don't know
is
about
that
that. I don't know. So,
'90s show.
the problem
The
is that
'90s show. We'll talk about that.
the problem is that you got to be
okay.
careful, and I'm sure Lisa's going to talk about this, and hopefully she can have us as guest on the
Guest
'90s
as
show.
guest. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. The
Yeah,
problem
we
is that
could be guests on
then
our
you'd
show.
have to start to do crazy shit like give Wyclef credit for Beyonce, right? And right, well, he put her on, right? Wyclef, it was the Wyclef remix of what was the Destiny's Child's first hit.
No, no, no.
Yeah, that was the reason why it got played. It was his remix, right? And
Ah.
he put his name on that remix, right? And so he opened up that remix, and so it's Wyclef that we kind of have to thank or blame for Beyonce. I'm gonna leave it right there because I don't need the beehive coming at me.
Yeah,
And
right. Right. I personally love Beyonce.
uh,
So do I.
Right.
I think that Jay-Z's
Homecoming was a dream.
I think that Jay-Z's got enough money that he could find me. So I love Beyonce too.
On the lighter note, number 6, "In the Rain." Come on, what a great song.
You know, it was the one track that wasn't written by Keith Sweat on the album. And you can
Well, but
tell it was a really it actually had a sense of melody. It actually had a sense of space and time. I agree with you. I think that "In the Rain" was really good. My problem with "In the Rain," Lisa, was that yet it's another song that drops below 85 beats per minute, right? And there's just not much that you can do. First of all, now by the time you get to "In the Rain," you are a solid 27 minutes in. Now, I don't know about you, but
Oh,
sex.
wait, didn't y'all skip one of the hits? The other hit song on here?
No,
Wasn't there?
no,
No? Okay. All
no,
right. My
no.
bad.
What song was that, Prince?
I thought Make It Last Forever was the
We did.
next song on that album.
We
We
talked
talked about
Jackie
that.
McGee and Make It Last Forever, and we talked
Right.
about all that.
Okay. You're
Yep.
right. My bad.
See,
My bad.
that's the
Follow
memorable
along,
part.
Prince.
Right,
Follow along.
Follow along. You're
see,
right.
see,
You're right.
see, Prince. I don't know. I don't know
I
about
hated
you.
this album. Obviously, I didn't listen to the whole thing.
You know,
There's
right?
only 8 songs on it,
Y-
Prince.
I know. That's one of the good things about the '80s, man.
right.
Nobody made no long ass albums.
Well, that's
You
because you
know?
couldn't get it onto the vinyl, right?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You
Nobody
couldn't.
had no good
Right. You
big ass
were
vinyl.
right, and so we were spared a whole bunch of bad music because of the limitations of
Exactly.
vinyl.
And
Unlike
interludes and
today.
all sorts of other weird stuff.
Exactly, and reprises.
Ah, the
Right.
reprise.
The
Yes, the
reprise, the
famous
classic
reprise.
reprise. Bobby Brown is like, you know what? I need some credibility. Let and I got a
Sorry.
CD. I got time. I got 74 minutes. Let me put a 20-second reprise on it to give me credibility. Okay, so In the Rain comes a solid 23, 24 minutes into the album. And see, the problem with In the Rain is that when In the Rain comes in, I'm already done. I'm in deep REM sleep, and I've cleaned off my penis. Right? That's the problem with the album, right? So that's the problem. Any of the damage that I was gonna do, I've already done. And by the way,
By song what? 3?
no, by the third chorus of something 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 ain't right. That's about the time that
The
I've
game
done.
was
And
over.
right. The game was
Man.
over, and I was looking at my phone by right in a wrong way. Right, but there was some this right, but unfortunately, right in the wrong way. I may go in for seconds depending on how weird I feel, right? So, In the Rain was just a song that nobody just got to, you know? In the Rain was a song that no one got to, and I think it's a great song, and I think it's a standout, and
I didn't
I
get
think
to
it's
it.
well, there you go. And Lisa, why don't you talk to us about In the Rain, if you can? I want to go outside. Pause.
Oh,
Pause. Pause.
that's
Pause. Pause.
right.
Pause. In the rain. And
Oh, man.
by the way,
Just the whole melody, just
Lisa,
everything.
what rhymes with rain? Ain. That rhymes with rain.
Right.
Right? That rhymes with rain.
Oh.
And that's the problem. All right. So let's move on to How Deep Is Your Love, right? And
I wish we could play this song
right.
so bad.
Well, maybe we're gonna go back and post, and we're gonna be able to do something here. But the problem that I have with
It's a
How
great
Deep Is
song.
Your Love is that is it How Deep Is Your Love from Color Me Bad, or is it How Deep Is Your Love from Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, right? Because both of them were really big hits, and so I always think it's brave when an artist can't
Steal
you know
somebody else's name of
well,
a song.
well, exactly, and I think Prince, I think parentheses do a lot. How deep is your
Is your
love?
love right?
Right, and
Yeah.
that I think that makes a difference, right? It certainly makes a difference when I say, "Hey Siri, play How Deep Is Your Love," right? And she ends up playing the Bee Gees version, right?
For
Let's
sure.
see. Hey Siri, play How Deep Is Your Love? Calvin Harris and Disciples. There you go. This is How Deep Is Your Love, guys. All right. So and
I prefer the Color Me Bad. How Deep Is Your Love? But I was a big Color Me Bad fan. I really. Uh,
Now, speaking of terrible music,
no, what? I Want to Sex You Up is a classic.
thanks to the movie it
A
came
true
in, but it was
classic.
not a class. Save it for
so
the 90s
so
show. And
so
Okay, all
so
right. We'll
furthermore,
save
Prince
that for the '90s show.
Prince Max Goose signed B2K,
Of course he did. Of course.
and then
Right.
Chris Stokes raped him. Um, but now we're
Which
back to
is
right in the
another.
wrong way, and we're
Right.
going the wrong way. So, um,
Yeah.
that's the 2000 show.
right. How deep is
That
your
will
love?
not be on my show.
Again, it's so now we go from Make It Last Forever to In the Rain to How Deep Is Your Love. And the problem with that is that now you're 3 songs in. So what Teddy Riley and Keith Sweat, and by the way, I think it's really interesting because you can't help but say Teddy Riley and Keith Sweat,
Right.
right? So what Teddy Riley and Keith Sweat end up doing with How Deep Is Your Love is um, it's another slow song. And I think this has a lot to do. I guess the story goes that Teddy really wasn't interested in doing any R&B, and him and Keith used to run around Harlem doing talent shows and whatever the case is. And so this is really Teddy's first attempt at doing R&B. And so when you're doing R&B, I don't want to say the easiest thing to do. Certainly, the most interesting stuff to do are these slow jams. And I just, to write a hit fast song, you're not going to get another "I Want Her." Although, just let's think about this for a second. This song, goes 3x platinum.
Right.
Prince. How much more does this record sell if he puts "Just Got Paid" on it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would have changed the trajectory of Keith Sweat's career. Not that it's been a bad career, but
Exactly, exactly. He wouldn't have been playing Augusta. He would have been playing Atlanta, and
Right,
it's a he would have
right,
right. He
right.
he would have been playing Tampa instead of playing Lakeland. It's a
Hmm.
difference. There is a difference. It would have been a night to remember, a night of '90s, starring Keith Sweat, and then it would have been Teddy Riley featuring Guy. Instead, it's a
Right,
night to remember, Teddy Riley featuring Guy and Blackstreet and Rex in Effect and Teddy Riley.
right.
Right.
And the guy that did Twisted. Right.
Right. Right. And then
Ugh.
the guy that did Twisted, the guy who discovered silk. Right.
Right, right. And the guy
Right.
who discovered
Right.
Silk.
Right.
Right.
And I
You
think it.
know, Keith Sweat is performing tonight in Ontario, California, with Guy, with the Isley Brothers.
So
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 he's
so
still friends with Teddy Riley after all these years.
so yeah, he is. I think he is, and to hear him talk about it that way. But Lisa, I just want to go back to something that you just said. So Keith Sweat is performing in Ontario, California. So Keith Sweat is performing in the second Ontario,
Not Ontario, Canada.
not
with John
Ontario
B.
Carrier, right?
With John B.
With
John B.
yeah, John
Wow.
B. Yeah, John B.
Guy.
Right, John B. was one of those things. John B. was the babyface answer to "I'm so hot I could get the white people." Right? That's who John B.
Good old
was.
John B.
And I'm
Wow.
sorry, he's performing with who?
Be the Isley Brothers and
The
Guy,
so he's
Guy
per,
and John
so
B.
he's performing with the Isley brother, and
No, it's both. It's both.
it,
How did the Isley brothers get on that bill?
R.
Why would they
Kelly.
be?
R. Kelly wasn't available.
I don't see why they would, how they would, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem like a.
Lisa, so they're performing tonight. All right, so let's put down the money. Is Aaron Hall going to show up?
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. So
My exact statement, and it was
that's the
funny,
money.
but I'm sure he will.
Is Aaron going to show up? And if Aaron doesn't show up, does Crazy Legs just do Crazy Legs?
And does Keith Sweat come out and do
Yeah,
Right,
maybe Keith Sweat
all the
does
right,
all
right,
the leads
host what?
to
right.
save the show?
You know what? Teddy Riley can actually do No Diggity
About
for a third
Bobby
time.
Brown song.
No Diggity for a third time, right? Right? He can do No Diggity for a third time, or he
He
can
just had
hold.
him.
Right.
Right. Or he could because when you do a guy set, you have to do "Piece of My Love," right? So Teddy Riley can do the classic. You could have a.
Right. Let everyone else say it.
Let everybody else say it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there you go. And then he can do "Remember the Time," and everybody will forgive him. But probably not after. I think we need to bring up into the world that um, Teddy Riley was behind Michael Jackson's "Remember the Time" and that whole Dangerous album. Teddy Riley was also behind "Right and the Wrong Way." Is there something that's happening with Teddy Riley that we need to be talking about? Michael Jackson?
Is Teddy Riley still? Uh, is he still broke? I'm just saying. I mean, every time I hear about him, he was broke again and again and again.
I think he's getting like 25 a show.
All right. Well, that's
So I mean, I wouldn't
decent.
have any problem with that.
Yeah, that's decent.
To dance around for
Show,
an hour and a
I
half.
mean, the show's in Ontario, but still, Ontario, California, but still, yeah, 25 a show. Okay.
Is that chicken fresh? If so, I'm extremely jealous. And is it white meat or dark meat? Because that matters to me.
I
A
am.
real, a juicy, there's nothing better than a juicy breast. Okay? Right, Prince?
Yeah.
I want to thank Lisa for getting us subscribers.
Right.
I'm here for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, we will not
Please
be.
let's not forget the last track, which is Don't Stop Your Love, which I thought was a good song
It was. I think it was an attempt to
and
come back.
actually hit the hot R&B charts at number 9
Are we done
in
with this
80.
album? Because I don't think there's any reason we should recommend anybody listen to it. I didn't like it. It's dated. There's really, unless you're a Teddy Riley completist, I really don't see any reason to ever listen to this album.
It had its moment in my
Um,
That's
life.
just my personal opinion.
I think it was interesting. I was playing I Want Her, and my 14-year-old walked up to me and said, "Ooh, Bobby Brown," and I said, "Same drums, same melody,
Right.
same producer, same yep yep, different artist." Right. So
Different black guy.
different,
Right.
right?
Different
Well,
black guy.
different black guy in front. Um,
Right.
that being said, I think that I disagree with you, Prince. I think that if you have to understand, if you need to understand New Jack Swing, that there, as you and I talked about, there are two roads that you can go. You can go the road
Right.
of control, and you can go the road
Make it
Negative.
last forever.
of Teddy Riley, and I think it's exactly what Lisa said. Um, Teddy Riley and Keith Sweat are the culmination of the Full Forces and the Force MDs, and a lot of those guys that were trying to infuse um, music and R&B music into hip hop. And vice versa, hip hop into R&B, and with that,
Hmm.
were utterly shut out from, the folks that were, if it's not Anita Baker, if it's not Freddie Jackson, if it isn't Luther, if it isn't
Right.
Whitney, then it's not going to happen. I mean, hell, I'm not gonna take Full Force. I'd rather take, I don't know, Aretha Franklin and George Michael.
Hmm.
And
I
Michael
mean,
Jackson.
And right, well, right, and then let's Michael Jackson at this point was in bad. He was doing bad, and he was probably running around with. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, and he was hanging out with that little white boy that just kept going like that, and that was really weird. But
rumors. Those are just rumors. Oh.
hmm there's a right and a wrong way. You may be young, but you're ready. Yeah. So I just and but I still think that this
I
is
mean,
a
I like
very
Teddy Riley. I respect Teddy Riley. I like Teddy Riley. He has some great songs. I just don't. I mean, in this album, if you're a Teddy Riley fan, this album is, like I said, if you're a Teddy Riley completist, and this is a good listen. Keith Sweat did better albums as far as I'm concerned.
No
Um,
way.
uh,
no.
No
I love
I
way.
think I
Twisted. I
think I
think
think
Twisted. I think Twisted is a fucking classic.
no.
I love that
I
record.
think that I think that what Keith Sweat did is that Keith Sweat amassed an amazing album for greatest hits. But the problem when you have a greatest hits album is that if you've put out, if you have a greatest hits album, but you've put out 8 albums, that
Mm,
means that you're not you really haven't had great albums. You've had great singles, and I think that that's what Keith Sweat struggles from. I would I could say I think that you have to listen to Make It Last Forever because you have to
okay.
understand the place in New Jack Swing. But at the same time, I think it's very telling that the one my one come away from this album is that Keith Sweat had just got paid and didn't use it, and that would have changed the whole trajectory of where New Jack Swing was based and how established New Jack Swing could be. Now the good part is that now you have Teddy Riley being a juggernaut on 2 tracks, and I think that that's important.
Mhm.
And then in 1988, he follows it up with Guy. And so if you do want to, there's there's a there are different stages of a producer like Teddy Riley of his life. There is the hip hop stage, there is the R&B juggernaut stage, and then there's the Guy stage, and then there is the kind of no man's land stage when he gets with his brother with Rex and Effect. There's the Blackstreet
Right.
stage, and then there's the Michael Jackson stage, and then there's the and so I think that if you're going to understand New Jack Swing, it would be a better. You could listen to this album and understand, about the forces that brought together to make it. But I think at the same time, you could follow the. If this is a split in the story, I think you could follow the Teddy Riley split and get just as much because I Want Her is really all you really need to be.
Well, I think that when I think of Teddy Riley, I look at him and his career. I think of Kanye West. You know, they're people of their time. He was good in his time. He made the hits of that era. So he's important. Teddy Riley is very important. But
It's
we're
classic.
not talking about. But this is not a Teddy Riley album. This is a Keith Sweat album, and Keith Sweat is not as important. No offense.
Exactly,
So
exactly, and I think what's interesting there is that we always continue to say Teddy Riley and Keith Sweat,
right.
and so they're forever linked, and so this might as well have been
Even today in Ontario.
right. So why don't we just call? Why don't we name this podcast Pre Guy, right? Why don't we just call the band what it is, Pre Guy, right? Or Young Man, right? Or
Ah,
young hombre or something like that. And
but three
that's
million people did buy the record, so
it, 3 million
you
people,
know.
right? 3 million people can't be wrong. So
Right.
that's my take. Any final takes on that, Lisa? You've been looking down, and we've seen what I'm going to advise you to do for your podcast is either show more boobs or pupils on the draw pupils on the front of your eyelids. So when you look down at your phone, because obviously something is more important, or you can do something really
Or
cool.
you can wear sunglasses
You
like
can wear
I was
Frank.
gonna
sunglasses.
say, or I could wear shades like Frank.
Right, but if you're gonna wear shades like me, then you have to really be in your late '80s, early '90s Harlem nigga kind of shit, wearing the silk pink
I'm
suit
just jealous I
with the
didn't get the memo.
hey. Hold on,
I
let me
would
do
have
the
worn mine.
hey. Any final takes on this album, Lisa?
As I said before, I loved it. I loved it. I remember exactly where I was when I heard it to begin with, and I remember and there's very few albums I could say about that. That I know exactly where I was when I heard it for the first time. So,
It's scary
um,
that
um,
you say, "Yeah, I remember exactly where I was, baby number two," as opposed to saying,
I,
"I remember when my daughter was born. There was some obscure song obscure album I was listening to."
no,
So
I was in
I,
some random apartment complex walking up and down the street.
yeah, there you go, Prince.
in in Suitcase City in Tampa, Florida,
That,
where everybody was hanging out in the late '80s.
Cinnamon
You
Suitcase.
where you
in
in
Cinnamon Cove,
Cinnamon
in
Cove. I
Cinnamon
mean,
Cove, yeah. Um, Prince,
who
any
you wouldn't be dead
it's
in now,
or dead.
or you would be dead.
It's all Mexicans, but we can talk about that.
Or
Prince, and
racist.
any final words about "Make It Last Forever" and "My Kerchief"? Because you didn't say anything about my kerchief,
No, I
and
think I've
it
made it
takes
known that I've hated in both Curses
my kerchief.
album
Should
and
come out.
Sorry,
To come out.
that's the next episode to see if the
right.
kerchief comes
It
out.
keeps
Right,
coming out.
right.
It's magic.
Ha ha ha! Ha
Once
ha ha!
again,
Tune into my '80s and '90s show.
See what's underneath my handkerchief.
There you go. Well,
yeah, I'm
that's
done.
okay. You're done, Lisa. You done? Lisa, big plug for your '90s show. What is it called?
Rewind.
'90s Rewind. How original.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, hmm.
Could be adult education, but that was already taken. So
Yeah, and
I just,
you
I'm thinking about going. It's my prerogative. I think that might be, you know,
yeah
my avenue
yeah
because it
that
is.
the '90s were the year that all the guys that made the money, all the R&B guys, all the black R&B guys that made the money in the late '80s, they robbed everybody else in the '90s, like Pebbles. Okay. Okay.
Well, we gotta talk. Are you going to talk about Pebbles? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
We could talk about
she's my
Pebbles.
hero.
I bet you she is. I
She
bet you
is.
she is. All right, guys. Peace, and
All right.
we'll definitely see you next time.
Bye.
Okay, guys, we're out.
Okie doke.
I think that's
Lisa,
exactly.
did you have fun?
It was
Frank, I
funny.
love the costumes, by the way. That was a nice
So
touch.
jealous.
Thank you.
Frank always has to one up somebody at the top. Popeye's taking beer. We're not.
Next one, there will be fireworks and shit. I can't
So
wait.
good. What else is new?
There you go, Lisa. And so now I can't wait for your podcast, Lisa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got two in the can. I'm still negative. Period.
Yeah, it's okay. When
Frank,
you
with
when you
the
starting?
glare on your eyes, you look like you have green contacts on.
What's my name? Ashley. Whoa, whoa! I
Those are
said
blue.
that out loud. Hold on, I said that out loud.
Those are blue.
Look
What
at
is
that.
that? Is that a breast?
It's a piece of
Like,
chicken.
what's that? That's tenders?
Yeah, the tenders is white meat tenders.
All right, Frank. When are we gonna do this other one?
I know. If so, was it mashed potatoes?
No, I just go with the chicken. It's the carnivore in me.
What about? Did you get a biscuit?
Popeyes.
No biscuit.
I got the 4 pack of Old English 800.
Oh my God. Where they don't sell the bottles? That would have been classic.
The can is much more classy.
Yeah, very
If
West
we're
Coast.
doing,
Absolutely go.
if we're
Playing around
doing
with those bottles.
right, if we were doing the 90s and we were doing the Boys in the Hood soundtrack, I would have come with the 40. But I'm gonna leave it at that. So there you go. Okay, Prince. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's do it tomorrow.
Oh, just food for thought. Devin would like to be in on one of these 80s podcasts with you.
Devin, who was not even conceived in the
Was
80s.
he born? He wasn't even born.
He knows more 80s songs than you would believe, thanks to his mother.
Yeah, but the problem is that Devin was a broken promise that you'd never ever ever do it again, and here you are. I don't want to.
What? Who is Devin? Devin? What do you mean?
I'm
I don't
Devin
get
was.
I'm showing.
How old is Devin now? Anyway,
19, 20.
19. Okay.
Why are you squinting?
Because I'm still trying to understand your bullshit ass statement.
Why?
I think she's looking at herself in the deal.
she's
Shove
either
it, Prince.
she's either the whole episode she was either looking at her phone or looking at herself in Skype.
I was looking at myself the whole time because I like looking at
You? Were you looking at yourself?
Yes, that's one of my favorite people. I love that dude.
Why? Do you think I'm looking at myself when what about when I'm looking at you guys? No, I'm looking at y'all right now.
Okay, we can't
We
tell.
think you're looking at yourself.
Yeah, we
Now
think
I'm
you're
looking at myself.
You know, at
Now
least
I'm looking at y'all.
I was like wonderfully.
Frank, you're jealous.
I was
That's
wonderfully
all.
amazed at how white your teeth are. I was like, "Whoa, she really
Maybe
prepped
it's the
for this.
lighting.
She really prepped for this. You look good, Lise.
Thanks.
Where's Derek?
Filter.
Well,
I thought you was gonna bring Derek on. I was waiting for that moment.
I thought I gave the lead into into the Highland Place Mobsters. I gave you the lead.
Negative.
I gave you the lead.
It was a fucking layup.
Whew.
Not where it's not where it's at right now.
Oh,
Not where it's at.
well, there you go. Well,
All right, when will you think we can have a copy of this? We can start cutting this thing up, Frank.
I'll look at it tomorrow.
Okay, Doke.
Why you're busy tonight?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, to him,
The man has chicken to eat.
chicken eat. I'm gonna and then I'm actually in New York City. I'm on my way up to Prince's house. We're gonna hang some blinds in his fucking room.
Oh man, I never seen that. Is that window
I
open?
took those blinds down. I took them down, man.
Is
I
that
like
is that a window open?
the sun come up. I like the light just coming out.
Wait a minute, is that window up?
Yes, it's open.
Uh,
Mm. What, y'all don't open windows in Georgia?
mm. I want to say all these windows are sealed shut, but I don't know. I
Sealed
don't.
shut. Mm.
I don't know.
I
It
like the
looks
fresh
like it.
air.
We also hang our mirrors.
That's a
Nice mirror.
standing mirror.
I
I
was
like that
thinking
mirror.
those are expensive.
That's right. That ain't cheap shit, dude. You know.
Not those $5 kind you hang on the back of your door. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
And
Prince spent some real hard cash on that oak baby back
and Prince,
there.
I'm kind of concerned because
Amazon delivered it,
Prince,
It's a nice.
and I had to put it together myself.
I'm kind of you have to put together the mirror yourself.
Of course.
You have to put together the mirror yourself.
Hey,
I mean,
Sweetwater informed me you haven't ordered anything from them in a long time, Frank.
What'd you say?
Sweetwater informed me that you haven't ordered anything in a long time. So, you know, if you want to get some credit for my purchases,
What's that? What are we
they
looking at?
ordered it a long time, Frank. That's what they told me. When'd you order that?
I just picked it up today.
Not from Slaughter.
No.
Oh, well, that's what I said.
Best Buy.
Yeah, I would never shop there.
You're the one who fucking told me to order from there.
Yeah, but
God.
I would never do what I tell you to do.
Ugh.
Okay, Prince, I'm a little concerned because I think on the last podcast that Gatorade bottle was in the same place.
It's got coins in it,
No, it
probably.
wasn't.
Probably a bank.
Okay, you're not hydrating, brother. Thank you.
Is it a bank?
Prince, you gotta hydrate, brother.
Right. Right. I know. Bro.
Who are you texting?
Who?
You. Oh, let me see. Oh, let me guess. Oh, you're getting Facebook orders.
We should have told everybody how we're all in different states, because that's kind of interesting, don't you think, Bobby? Okay. Thank you so much for those words. As much as I may try to act as if it isn't a big step for me, but I feel positive. All right, it's going positive about it. I will definitely have a good time. Thanks so much. Wishing everyone well. I will definitely get some pics. Who is it? Who is this?
Bobby Brown.
No, better, bigger,
Whitney's
bigger.
dead. Whitney's dead.
bigger,
That was mean.
bigger
Fine.
haters.
Sorry. Was it Bobby Muller? Is it Bobby Muller? Oh, Bobby Robinson.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's Bobby Muller's Bobby De Niro or something like that. Okay.
No, try again.
So there you go. Prince,
I can't see that.
Tim and Bob. Okay.
I can't read yours.
No, you don't have to read it, right? See? Right?
Oh, okay.
There you go. All right.
Oh, yeah, you can do
Now
that.
it's a mirror.
Right.
Now it's a mirror.
Okay, gotcha.
What is that?
It's a Game Boy case
Right.
that actually turns
Back
on
of
and
it?
you can play. Yeah.
Let me see. Flip your camera around. Flip it around, Holmes. Okay, and flip it the other way, and you can play it.
Yes.
Turn it
Oh boy.
live.
Where do you get those at?
Amazon. Some Chinese person, some drop shipper. Some Japanese drop shipper.
Some
Chinese
Chinese company that has
That's fun,
What's the
Frank.
rap?
What'd you
What's
pay
the
for
rap?
that?
No,
Yeah.
no, electronics.
What'd you pay for that, Frank?
I would say $15 too much. That's what I would say. That's my
What'd you
guess.
pay for that, Frank?
My
That's
kid.
fine. How much, bruh?
sorry.
How much was that?
Go to Alibaba.com.
Ah, the Chinese drop shipper.
That's right.
How much was it?
Whenever I want to infringe on intellectual property, I go to Alibaba.com.
Right,
I just said
right.
I get all my stuff from Wish. I just love it. It takes a long time to come, so I forget about it.
Right.
And then when it comes,
Get there.
it's like a surprise.
Right,
Like,
right,
oh,
right,
I
right.
don't do that.
You ordered it.
You know that you know the Louis Vuitton the custom Louis Vuitton Ziploc bags make me feel really good when I open up my freezer.
Right.
one.
So,
That's a good one.
all right, guys, this has been just amazing. And I taped all of our post show.
All right, good. Yeah, so we can use some
Oh,
of those commercials.
Yeah, this stuff always, Lise, just always taping,
that's fun.
always taping, always taping. So, Lise, you had
Oh,
fun.
listen, if my eyes are down, can you please just, put like an emoji over my face or something?
I'm gonna put stars in a unicorn because that's how you take every other picture. So there you
With
go.
a little nose and maybe some
Right,
whiskers.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Because
Okay.
Snapchat's doing a little bit better. They're doing some filters that don't have noses on them.
All right,
All right,
guys.
y'all. I'm done, so I'm about to cut everybody off because I think y'all are connected to me.
By the way, the Deport Racist shirt is brilliant. Absolutely
Thank you.
brilliant.
Ignorant. I just wanted to say, I
about that?
don't even know a fucking racist, and neither do you. So,
What?
actually, the only racist I fucking know. So,
Oh my God! Oh my goodness
we're
gracious!
like that. Listen, I want to talk.
And this is how we get canceled. All right, and this is.
You're the only racist I know, friend.
Let's talk about the white person trying to big up her show by going on the black people's show.
Like you racist. That's what all racists do. That's the definition of racism, right?
That and gentrification.
Oh my God! Listen, this word, gentrification. First of all, I never even heard the word before in my life.
I believe that.
Obviously, that's because you don't.
I believe that. I believe it.
Here.
Derek taught it to me about 3 months ago. I have heard that word a million times since then.
Because you didn't know it, so you never paid attention to it. But now
Because
that you know what it means, now you hear it.
And that's that. It's because it's stupid.
Okay, I'm done.
Hey, Prince.
All right, Al.
Prince,
I
I
will
give
talk
her-
to y'all later.
I give her 2 days before she says she's the best thing about this podcast.
Of course.
We'll have to get opinions.
All right, y'all. It was fun. I will talk to everybody later. Peace.
Bye.